Alrighty, folks. The one and only and amazing Beth Traverso is sitting in a brand new office space. What we're going to talk about here is how she did it, creative financing, disrespectful offers, follow up, follow through, and could this be the best deal she has ever done? Beth, what's going on?
Hi.
Congratulations.
Hey, thank you. Yeah, it's only been 3 years I've been working on this office building here. But
Seriously, you've
now,
been working on this deal for 3 years.
well, I mean, I closed on it back in August of 2020. So we're talking COVID times.
Yes. Okay.
So, and it's right here in the heart of downtown Fall City, Washington, which is right in the hub of where my
Yeah.
business, my real estate business is centered.
Mhm.
Um, and it was, if you remember back in August of 2020, it was a sad time for commercial real estate.
Oh,
Not like it's
yeah.
great, not like it's great now, but everything was literally shut down
Right.
at that time. And so
Yeah.
businesses were closing because they couldn't do business.
Okay.
And this building that I'm sitting in now had been abandoned for, I want to say, probably about 10 years. So
Wow.
it was looking pretty sad. There was even a dead rat laying on the floor here when you look through the window. It was really pathetic.
It was bad.
It was super bad. Um, and but I saw potential in it because I was thinking, okay, this has a fantastic location with thousands of cars driving right by every day, right in the heart of in real estate we call it our farm, or
Mhm.
in one rental at a time speak, it's like your buy box right in the middle of
Right.
your buy box with a big sign right there. It's like, well, it's worth it even just for the sign itself.
Okay.
And it is like a billboard for
Sure.
my business. But I purchased it. It was listed for, here's another thing I want to say. So my mind goes all over the place with this because there's a lot of interesting aspects to this deal, but I'm always looking for properties where there's a little something extra that maybe the general public doesn't quite get.
Yeah.
So when people would drive through Fall City, they might be like, "Oh, it doesn't look like a lot's going on in Fall City. Like all the other places on the east side are very revitalized, gentrified, if you will. Everything is done and
Yeah.
A
Dialed.
class,
Yeah.
dialed in. Why is Fall City not like that?" And some people might not realize that part of the reason is that there's all of these commercial buildings here are on septic, not
Aha.
sewer, because of a lot of reasons. Okay. So we're unincorporated, we're a designated rural area. The infrastructure is not here, and the public in their area doesn't generally support that because they don't want to be developed here.
Right.
So there's sentiment, anti-sewer sentiment. And so, but what that means is that this commercial strip had a lot of limited possibilities as what you could do with a building like this because of the wastewater issue. So,
Correct.
all right. Anyway, there's been but I know that for myself, from my real estate office, I don't need barely any water. I mean, the water is
Yeah.
here and it does
Right.
work, but I don't need to operate a commercial kitchen or anything like
Right.
that here. I can operate it just fine without that.
Okay.
Um, but I did also know that there had been talk coming down the line of a solution for that. And shortly after we purchased, there is now funding and a plan in place that breaks ground later this year, early next year, to put in a solution, install the infrastructure to make a solution just for this commercial area down here. So there's going
Very
to
nice.
be, so that is going to be, it's in the works. There's a budget. It's been approved. There's a plan. It's happening. And that will open up a lot more options for this. That said, we're right next to some of the more expensive areas on the Seattle east side, like Sammamish, where the median household income is $195,000 a year, and other areas around. It's all, so Fall City being this little kind of overlooked area right in the middle of all that, it can't stay that way forever. So I'm
No,
looking long
exactly.
term, going, this is going to have opportunity down the road. So seeing
Mhm.
that, but it did look kind of forlorn at the time. This was not the only empty building on the strip, and it just seemed like there was just nothing going on. And who's buying commercial in the middle of COVID? What,
Mm.
how does that even happen? And so the owners put it on the market for 450, which still seems really low to me, even at that price now. But I made a disrespectful offer. You would have been very proud of me. I offered, I think it was 200 or 250 or something like that. I said, "Hey, I'm your buyer. I get it. I know what's going on with this sewer situation. I know I accept it 100% as is, no feasibility. I get it. Like, I'm your buyer." And they
Okay.
didn't respond at all. They didn't even acknowledge the offer. They're just like, "Nope." They didn't
Nope.
even say nope. This is
Yeah,
silence.
it was that
The
bad.
no,
It was
the
that
no
disrespectful.
answer was an answer, and that answer was no, and so then
The non-answer answer.
yeah. So I came back at somewhere higher, I forget, but eventually when I got to 350, they responded and accepted it. So
Okay.
I ended up buying it for 350.
Now let's get timeline. So you first saw this property in 2020. You
Yeah,
first visually saw it.
yeah,
Your first offer was shortly thereafter, the first
yeah,
disrespectful. And
yeah.
then how long between that and your 350? We talking weeks or
I
months?
want to say maybe 3 weeks or so.
Okay. So you were interested. You were trying to figure out, you were taking their
Yeah.
temperature.
This is not
Okay.
one of those ones where for me, like this specific building made sense. And I wanted it to be this building. I wasn't going to
Okay.
just let it go for another one because there is no other one.
Got it. All right. So you were
So
trying to,
I was not going to let it go away, but I also wanted to get the best deal that I possibly could on it.
all right.
So
So listed for 450, you get it in contract at 350.
correct.
Not,
I got it for
not bad.
350. Yeah. And it basically was cash. And the other thing too was like this thing, I don't know how it would appraise or, lending, probably not, so I can't imagine who. So I put down a lot of my own money. And then I also got private financing for a part of it also. So
Okay.
I was able to work out some sort of a deal structure where I was paying basically like interest only for a period of time while we are doing the rehab here.
Okay. All right.
So I've done the rehab now. Now fast forward 3 years. I've
So how long was the rehab? Because you get this in
just
2020.
finished basically. So it's been, and there's a lot of reasons why it took that long. It shouldn't have taken that long, but that's a subject for another video of maybe things to not do, but we'll focus now on the things that I did do but it took a village. It took a lot of people. I worked on with, this is basically like I said, a billboard for my business. So
Right.
I worked with my designer, my branding team. I made sure everything was 100% perfect, exactly the way I wanted it. Cause I've never been somebody to really work in an office. And so
Right.
if I was going to work in an office, I want it to be the kind of office that I really want to be in. And also one
Nice.
that reflects my brand really well for anybody
Yeah.
walking by and driving by.
I like it.
So basically where it is now is I paid off the private loan. So it's owned outright at this point. And since then a couple of other properties on this strip have also been purchased and rehabbed. And so the whole level of everything is coming up. So you want to be in that up and coming area. There is development potential down the road, but I'm not planning on ever tearing this down because why would I after so I should say I put about 250 into the rehab. It wasn't cheap.
Wow.
But it's like a new building now.
All interior, or was that some exterior?
Some exterior, but mostly interior. We kept the basic shape of it just to keep things simple. We kept the structure of the 50s building, and actually in some ways I kind of stripped it down. I exposed the ceiling rafters and the concrete floors and kind of with a little bit of a rustic industrial sort of a look. So I don't do much with commercial. I'm a residential real estate person. So I brought in my commercial people to help me evaluate. Because there's a whole second store. I have my storefront. And then there's another side, which is a mirror image. And so it's about 1,800 square feet.
And that's dialed in as well.
No, that one's basically just like, they call it vanilla shell. So it's like, it's like ready for somebody to come in and do something.
Okay.
So, but I'm going to wait for the wastewater thing to get taken care of so we can do the highest and best use over there. So right now it's just sitting, but it's going to lease for about $4,000 a month, triple net. So basically I get a space for free and free being, relative my monthly outcome is good. I'll be positive cash flow on the other side.
Let's just say I hope you would be positive cash flow. You have no debt, so I hope it's positive cash flow.
I'd be doing something really wrong. Like I know insurance and taxes, but yeah. So anyway, that's all covered. And plus I get paid to have my beautiful office here, and it's.
And how many people now reside in the office with you?
So I have myself and I have my team of 3 others.
Okay.
But I was talking to one of my mentors that came up and met me here a couple of weeks ago, and his eyes got big, and he was like thinking that maybe I could have space here to fill it out with more people potentially. So I'm thinking about how that might work. So
or have another team and maybe they give you a little
potentially, but I'm feeling a little greedy. Like I don't want to share too much.
It's like your billboard.
This is my baby, so I want to keep it for me. But But and I want to say also the end value now, looking at some of these others that are for sale, is probably around 1.5 million or so after doing these improvements and just letting time pass and improvements happen in the area. So that's
so you bought it for 350, you put 250 in. So what's that, 600? And now it's worth 1.4?
About 1.4, 1.5, maybe more.
In about 3 years.
Yeah.
Well, that doesn't suck.
Does not suck. However, I have to say, I'm not planning on leveraging it. I'm not planning on selling it. This is one of those things I hope to leave to my heirs one day, because it's one of those like cornerstones of the portfolio for me. So I feel a lot of pride.
It's a corner piece. Like when you put your puzzle together, this is a corner piece that just stays there. So
yeah. And also another thing it's one of those, it's a keeper for sure. And another thing also is that I'm very connected to the Fall City community, and I wanted to do something nice for the community. So like me, they're all sick of looking at an eyesore here right in the middle of the town. Yeah. And so now, I've turned it into what I think is a jewel and a real asset. And I think it helps everybody, which makes me feel good too, just as a member of the community too. So
that's awesome.
It's one of my favorite deals.
We're going to have to get, somebody's going to have to do a video walkthrough. I'm going to love to see that.
Oh yeah, it's going to happen. So we're doing a grand opening. If anybody's in the area and wants to stop by the 21st of September between 4 and 7, it's open doors. Come on in. And
hey, Millennial Mike, you better be there.
Yeah. And I've got my videographer will be here too. We're going to start doing some more video here now that I've got, there's a studio back here. I've got cool stuff. Nice. Yeah.
All right. Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
I can tell you're just in love with it. So a labor of love. So congratulations, Beth. If someone wanted to reach out to you, maybe come to the open house, or better yet, get a referral to a top 1% agent, how do they do that?
Yeah, so I can be found at bethtraversogroup.com, or you can look me up on Facebook or Instagram. I'm pretty easy to find out there. So
very cool. Thank you so much.
Thank you.